Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words proudly saying, "We the people."
So what's it like to be a parent in California? Well, if your young daughter has the audacity to draw a picture with the simple message, "All lives matter," then you can expect her and your family to be relentlessly targeted and bullied by the school administration. Now, many moms would fold in the face of such blatant intimidation, but not my next guest. No, she decided to fight fire with legal action, and her fight will certainly pave the way for concerned parents from coast to coast. Joining me now with the story you gotta hear to believe is a California mother suing her daughter's school district, Chelsea Boyle, and her attorney, Alexander Haberbush. Thank you both so much for being with me. And, I heard your story from our friend Kira Davis, and it really was incredible to hear. It's almost one of those things where you feel like, no, this couldn't have possibly happened. You hear about these things, but you never really meet the people that they happen to. I know that it's a difficult story. It's involving your young daughter. But, as I said, your daughter just simply drew a photo or a picture, your young daughter, with a very simple message, a message that we should all be able to get behind, which is all lives matter. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter where you come from, your religion, who you voted for. All lives matter. But it was that triggered your daughter's teacher and the administration. Tell me what happened after she drew that photo.
Well, I actually hadn't found out about it an entire 11 months later. And it was another parent in passing that had told me about it. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? My daughter did this? And so I asked her, I said, did you ever get in trouble by the principal for drawing a picture? And then she laid it all out for me. I mean, she had it down to the specific date of when this had happened. And she had said she drew this picture, and in her mind, in her first grade mind, it was her and her 4 friends. And she was celebrating her friends of all cultures, really, because she didn't understand. She saw Black Lives Matter on her school computer every single solitary day for 7 months. And she didn't understand why she mattered. She didn't understand why all of her other friends mattered. And it's a very multicultural school. And so she basically said it's her and her 4 friends holding hands. And my heart broke. She said that the principal lined her up with all the other kids around her. She said there were just so many kids around mom, and he made her apologize in front of all these kids. And then after that, took away her recess, benched her, and then said, you can't draw any more pictures for your friends at school. And she's severely ADHD, and art's her outlet. That's what quiets her down. That's what calms her mind. So that's kind of what happened. And then I made the complaint, and the principal decided to run his own investigation and found himself completely innocent.
Wow.
Surprise, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
When
mean,
you investigate yourself.
Right. I think I want to go back to that story even. Let's keep in mind your daughter's a first grader when she drew this picture. A picture, by the way, that I think any parent would be proud of. I mean, there are a lot of pictures that people can draw that might be malicious, that might have an undertone. That is certainly not one of them. In fact, that's something that should be posted on a wall somewhere to be admired. Everybody holding hands in solidarity, saying that all lives matter, we all matter. I can't think of a better message for a young person to put out there. So congratulations to you for being a parent that really solidifies that at home. But going back to what happened afterwards, making your young daughter stand in front of everybody and apologize, taking away her recess and other privileges, I mean, to punish somebody for this, that is so out of bounds. Then you go to the administrator and you say, this is what happened. Then they start targeting you then? What did they do to you after you blew the whistle?
Well, at first, the principal first said it never happened, that no incident like this had ever happened. And then finally, I had given the district the name of the other family who had complained. And then when that family corroborated my daughter's story, they came back and said, oh, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And so I kept going, and I went to the level 2. And then as soon as I got to level 2, they started attacking me. And I'm like, wait a minute, now I need an attorney. Like, this is not right. And I'd already started researching like what had happened to us. We were discriminated against, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. And it was a long process to find the right attorney to help me. I actually had attorneys' contracts posted up in my kitchen. I had attorneys from all over the country trying to contact me. And then finally I had hooked up with a gentleman named Ryan Heath with the Gavel Project. And I asked him simply, like, why are you doing this? And he just said really quickly, and he meant it. He was like, because I believe in people. And I'm like, that's right. And let's do this. And then he introduced me to Alexander with the Lex Rex Institute. And I felt much the same way. And so then they've kind of been holding my hand ever since and telling me, no, this is wrong. And for, all these different reasons of why it's wrong.
Yeah, I want to go into the lawsuit itself, because I think there are a lot of parents that know that their school has done something wrong. Their children have been targeted in some way. I mean, unfortunately, it's becoming more and more common. But what made this case different, that you both felt that this is ripe for legal action, something that's winnable? How did that all come about? Alexander, I'll put that one to you.
Yeah, and before I talk about the case, I do just want to thank the Gavel Project for funding this case. That was, as Chelsea mentioned, Ryan Heath from the Gavel Project is the person who reached out to me to help out Chelsea. If it were not for the Gavel Project, there is absolutely no way that we could fund cases like this. The Gavel Project is a qualified 501c3 tax-deductible nonprofit. You can visit their website, thegavelproject.com, and make a contribution there. But the reason that Ryan and I, and then Chelsea also, of course, felt that this case was so important is because free speech is involved. And free speech is not just involved, but it's actually, A, been compelled from Chelsea's daughter. So there's two different standards on free speech. There's when the government tries to tell you that you can't say something. That's usually what we think of when free speech comes up. And then there's also when the government tries to make you say something. That's called compelled speech. That's a far more egregious thing to do, almost never permissible for the government to do that. But that's what happened here when they compelled Chelsea's daughter to make an apology. And then secondly, because the facts surrounding their retaliation against Chelsea and her family have been so egregious, we felt this case needed to be heard, and it needed the attention that it's getting. No parent should be the target of retaliation and discrimination, made to feel like a pariah, attacked by their closest friends, told that they are a liar. As part of the appeals process, have totally irrelevant text messages dredged up. I mean, what's happened to Chelsea is really beyond the pale, and it needs some sort of legal reckoning.
So this is not just the school, Chelsea. This is other parents that have decided to come after you as well. And I know that this can't be easy to talk about, but we certainly appreciate you talking about it, because you're not the only person. You're not the only person that's been in this situation. You're just one that is brave enough to talk about it. So tell me about some of the treatment that you've received ever since you made this public.
The parents aren't doing it on their own. They're being pushed by the school to do it. I want to be clear about that.
Wow.
I mean, I had felt some of the retaliation over the summer, but then as soon as school started, I mean, it was quick. It was every single solitary day I was calling Alexander or sending him emails. I mean, it was really the second day of school that I got an email. My daughter had written a letter to the principal because they'd been bullied by the kids at school, both of my kids. And I mean, all I could say about the letter was, it was like, please, my mommy does so much for the school. Why are you bullying us? Why are you doing this to us? Please just tell the truth to the principal. And then we went into the second week, and I had my daughter call me hiding in the stall of a bathroom. And she called me from her iWatch, and she was bawling her eyes out saying, please come and pick us up. Please come and pick my brother and I up. We're getting, please, the counselor's following us. I can't even get my brother to speak. He's crying. And I said, okay, I'm on my way. They followed my daughter into the bathroom.
What were they trying? What was the motivation of them following your daughter around? Was it just intimidation? What were they saying to her? What was that experience like for her?
The school knows that parents care about their kids. And schools do not like it when parents speak up to defend their rights or the rights of their kids. So these schools will stop at nothing to prevent parents from doing that. That's unfortunately the state of the situation right now. And unless we have people like us, like the Gavel Project, fighting back against this sort of thing, it's going to continue.
I hid my kids, Tomi. I felt the threat, and I had called Alexander and I said, I need to talk to you. I sent my kids away. I hid them. And he goes, I don't understand. I'm like, I have this gut feeling. I've got this woman, this counselor talking about me at faculty meetings and saying that I am mentally unstable to all the faculty.
She's never made any kind of evaluation. To my knowledge, not even met Chelsea before. Chelsea is one of the most mentally stable people that I know. That's not, I mean, that notion is absurd. It's laughable. But the other teachers don't know better.
So I want to go back to was the school district and the administrators, were they trying to deny that they did what they did to your daughter? Or were they just saying that what your daughter did was so egregious that she deserves to have had apologized and to be in that position?
Well, if you look at the responses the school sent back, they're actually very carefully worded. Becerra, who's the principal that actually responded in the level 1 complaint, says, on the one hand, I don't remember any of the details of what you're talking about. By the way, I do happen to have this picture in my office. Not sure why he has it if there was never a disciplinary action, but he says, I don't remember. And then on the other hand, he says, it also didn't happen. How you can say something didn't happen when you don't remember it is entirely beyond me, but that's what he claims. I really think what's going on here is, I think if Chelsea's family, if Chelsea's daughter had sat down and shut up as soon as her daughter was reprimanded, I don't think we would have heard another word about it. In fact, we know we wouldn't have, because Chelsea didn't hear about this for over a year until another parent mentioned it in passing. It's because Chelsea stepped up and decided to defend her rights, and frankly, your rights and the rights of all of your viewers, that she's being treated in this manner.
What's the status of the lawsuit now? I mean, what's the process like, and what has it been like for both of you in pursuing this? The end goal, of course, suing the school district. What are you hoping to gain if it all goes your way?
Originally, we wanted an apology. At this point, maybe an apology in front of all of the school kids at recess. Same thing they did to Chelsea's daughter. Frankly, probably a lot more than an apology at this point, because it's not just the compelled speech issue anymore. Now there has been systematic discrimination and harassment of Chelsea and her family. So at this point, we are still in the investigation phase of this lawsuit. The school adds more to investigate every day with each abuse they commit against Chelsea and her family. It's going to be a long lawsuit at this point. I hope they're prepared for it.
Chelsea, are your kids still in this school?
No, I had to, Alexander, we had to move them for their safety. Alexander had me move them, and it's a Spanish immersion school, so it's very hard. I couldn't find another school outside of the district. There were none. So we're still in the same district, and I'm still having issues. My children are still having issues, as recent as yesterday.
Yeah. And
the
unions talk, the union members talk, the union spreads information. If it's in the same district, her kids are safe, but they are not free from harassment or discrimination.
So what grade level is your daughter currently, Chelsea?
She's now in 3rd grade, and my son's in 4th grade, and both of them have faced a lot of harassment and bullying.
So is it harassment by the other students, or is it teachers? Is it counselors? What is the current state of the harassment, and who's perpetuating it?
The admin, the administration, we've had some from students, from kids. You can't do anything about that. I've never been able to say this, Tomi. I've never been able to talk to the teachers. That the teachers, I try to leave them out of it. The teachers have been amazing. I can't talk to them anymore. The teachers at Viejo Elementary are just amazing, but the teachers aren't happy.
Yeah.
The teachers aren't happy. They're not happy that this is happening.
And they're not free to speak up like you are.
No.
Wow.
If what I've come to realize very recently is everything that's going on around in the country, and you see all these viral videos of parents standing up at board meetings. I've been kind of reclusive, And I actually went to a board meeting 2 weeks ago, and I was a little bit shocked. I've every aspect of my life, I mean, every relationship in my life, almost everyone, has been completely ruined. All these relationships and friendships I've fostered and built are destroyed. And I can thank a couple people for that. But I went to this board meeting, and I had so many parents come up to me and say, thank you so much. You made your story so we can talk to you about it. So we can talk about it, like every aspect of this story about my daughter. And I had these parents tell me, I had one parent come up to me and say, I'm waking up. My 6th grader tried to commit suicide. This is all in the Capo district. This is at our district board meeting.
Wow.
Another parent told me that their daughter in 2nd grade is dyslexic, and there's no services for her, and they have to fight for these services. They're still not getting these services. And she just, the 2nd grade girl just wants to die. And then I started seeing these parents get up, and they're not exactly talking about their own children, but these are the parents that are getting up and speaking at these board meetings. And it solidified for me that all the parents, all these viral videos that we're seeing everywhere, these parents all have a story about their children, but they're not telling all the details.
Yep.
They just want all the other parents in the country to look at what's happening, talk to their children. I was so involved. I was doing, 300 plus hours a year in volunteering at the school, and I didn't know this was happening.
Right.
Wow. Well, I want to go back to, let's keep in mind here, you've got a 3rd and 4th grader. The administrators are harassing and bullying 3rd and 4th graders. I'm just going to take a wild shot in the dark here and say maybe that the line of work that they shouldn't be in, it should not be education. Because if you're willing to do that to a child, their parents, I can't fathom that. But I will say this, you're exactly right. Because if your voice wasn't so needed and so powerful, they wouldn't try to silence you. So there is power in words. There is power in standing up. And we've seen it all across the country. We've seen our own federal government trying to label parents as domestic terrorists for what they've done and what they've stood up for. So what you're doing is impactful. It matters. And your kids are going to look at you when they're a little bit older, and they're going to say, my God, I had a mom that was willing to stand up and fight for something that she believed in. And everything that they've been put through is going to be worth it, because you're going to raise 2 incredibly strong kids. I can tell you that much. But we want to keep up with your story. Please, please, let us know what's going on in any way that we can help. And I just want to assure you of this, both of you and the Gavel Project, what you're doing is so needed and it's so important. And you're going to be a part of a wave of parents who are going to make their voices heard. And sometimes, especially in California, it just takes one. It takes one, and then the floodgates open. So what you're doing is so important. We're thinking about you. Please keep us up to date on everything that's going on. And the best of luck to you in your noble fight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.